All right, I think everyone's here. We'll now reconvene this meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
Okay, great. So we're back and we're gonna move right along to matter number, I believe we're, sorry, everybody. 80-21-S. I'm gonna read the department's recommendation as everyone gets situated. Okay, the Department of Planning and Development recommends approval of the proposed barber and beauty shop. Councilor Pekarsky, whenever you're on, let me know. Okay, well, he's getting situated. I'll note that I believe we have some objectors on this matter.
Yeah, Chairman, I'm sorry, this is Alderman Mitchell.
Yep.
Did you say you guys recommend an approval?
So that's the Department of Planning and Development, Alderman. We always read on a special use, we always read the department's recommendation first. So the board hasn't recommended anything or done anything. We haven't heard the matter yet. But the Department of Planning and Development did recommend approval. Okay, so what I was saying, I think we have some objectors on this matter. So how we're gonna run this is the applicant will put on their case in chief. Then I'll go to the objectors. The objectors will give their objections, will not be repetitive or else I will be cutting them off, and be able to ask the applicant questions during that time. Then it goes back to the applicant to close things out. So let's see if John Pekarsky's on.
John Pekarsky here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Wonderful. I represent Mr. Anthony Roberts, who is the applicant in this case and is seeking to have a barber shop in a completely commercial area. The property in question has 3 or 4 first floor commercial units and residential above. This is replicated up and down the street. This is a commercial street. My client has his license and wishes to introduce to this site a barber shop. I can't think of any.
John,
I can't.
Sorry to cut you off, but we've got to confirm, is your applicant on the call?
He was. He's been on all day.
Okay.
Anthony, are you there?
Don't see him.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, someone just raised their hand, an attendee. So there we go. Kama probably just promoted them.
I will make a phone call. There.
Hello.
Hey, is this Anthony?
Hi, this is Anthony Roberts.
Great. Okay. Thanks, Mr. Roberts. Councilor Pekarsky, you can take it from here.
Okay. Now, as I said, I have with me Anthony Roberts and Joseph Ryan, a real estate appraisal witness. The property in question is a mixed-use commercial site. It's evident just simply looking at it that it is a mixed-use commercial site. And that the drawing that you're looking at currently shows barber stations, 4 barber stations, And it's quite possible that we might be able to have 5 barber stations once the business becomes more popular. Mr. Roberts has recently received his state license and is familiar with the area, having grown up in the area, and has chosen this spot to place his barber shop. With that, I would call Mr. Roberts. Mr. Roberts, please state your name, address, and occupation.
Anthony Roberts, licensed barber.
Great.
Oh,
And Anthony, real quick, can you please state your name and address in full?
Yes, Anthony Roberts, 2224 East 79th Street, Chicago, Illinois, 60649.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. And do you swear or affirm to tell the truth in today's proceedings?
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, Mr. Roberts, when did you receive your state of Illinois license?
State of Illinois license was 2019.
2000, and that's your barber's license?
No, my barber's license, the actual barber's license I obtained in 2020, last year.
Last year. And after receiving your license, you sought out areas to locate your barbershop. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you decided upon the particular property at 2224 East 79th Street. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Now, can you tell me, is there anything that particularly led you to 2224 East 79th Street?
Yes, absolutely. I grew up in the area. My family been in that area for years. I know the area. I know the demographics and the people in the area. It's very high traffic, a lot of potential for growth in terms of barbering, the stylists in that area. And yeah, I believe it's going to be a great spot for my shop.
Okay. And you're investing money in remodeling and rehabbing the property in question. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what are the proposed hours of operation?
Tuesday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m.
And as we start now, how many barbers do you feel you will have?
Moving forward, 3.
Okay. And at this point, it's only you. Is that correct?
Yes. I'm licensed. Yes.
Okay, fine. I have no further questions of Mr. Roberts. I would call Mr. Joseph Ryan.
I'm here.
Mr. Ryan, please state your name, address, and occupation.
Joseph M. Ryan, MAI, President, LaSalle Appraisal Group, with offices at 9455 South Point Avenue in Chicago.
Okay. And at my request, have you examined the subject site?
I have.
And at my request, have you examined the surrounding areas of the subject site?
Yes.
Okay, can you please describe the subject site?
Well, East 79th Street is one of the main commercial corridors in the city of Chicago. It extends from Rainbow Beach, which is just east of the property, to Cicero Avenue on the west end. It's primarily 1, 2, and 3 story, either retail on the 1-story buildings and mixed use on the 2 and 3 story buildings.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, can you describe the subject site itself?
It's a rectangular site improved with a 3-story building.
Okay. And what is located at the first level of this 3-story building?
4 storefronts.
Okay.
as I remember.
And above are residential units, is that correct?
Right, apartments.
Now, have you formulated an opinion as to the proposed use and its necessity for the public convenience at this location?
Yes, it's personal service use. That's typical of the area and typical of the entire city.
Have you formulated an opinion as to whether or not the proposed use will in any way injure surrounding property values?
No, well, not. It's a personal service use. It's a barber shop. It won't interfere with the normal course of business along 79th Street and will fit right in.
That's right. Mhm.
That leads me to the next criteria. Have you formulated an opinion as to whether or not the proposed use will in any way alter the essential character of the neighborhood in which it's located?
No, the building is established. The use won't have any impact on how the building blends in with the character of the neighborhood, which is, that it's perfectly blends in.
Mhm.
Are you familiar with the remaining standards of the Chicago zoning ordinance as regarding the special uses?
Yes, I put them all in my report.
One more thing. Do you have you formulated an opinion as to whether pedestrian safety or comfort will in any way be jeopardized as a result of the introduction of this special use?
No, it's a barber shop, so there will be a mix of walk-up traffic and people that use a car to come there, typical of every other business along 79th Street, east or west.
I had no further questions of Mr. Ryan. With that, I'd rest subject to rebuttal.
Yeah, thank you, Counselor. So we do have some objectors, so we will go there, but I want to make sure that the board doesn't have any initial clarification questions first.
I just have a couple. If you could, so you got licensed in 2020, you said?
Yes.
And once you got licensed, did you work as a barber somewhere?
No, actually, I've been cutting experientially, well, up until professional, till I got my license for about 20 years, since I was a young guy. So getting my license last year was the ultimate success for me.
Okay, so you've been cutting hair for the last 20 years?
Yes, sir.
Where have you been cutting hair? Where were you
I mean, yeah, neighborhoods, friends, family.
Okay, okay. What have over those 20 years have you developed a clientele?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and do you expect that clientele is going to come to your barbershop?
Yes, they will.
Okay, that's all I have. Thanks.
Thanks, Commissioner. Anything else from the board before we move over? Okay, we're gonna move over. I know Alderman Mitchell's on, so Alderman, if it's okay with you, do you wanna lead the charge here? I know there's some other people too, so up to you all how it's organized.
I'll close.
Okay, sure.
Opportunity for the object. They've been on the call all day, so I'll give them the opportunity.
Okay, great. All right, thank you. So if you are an objector, I don't know that, sorry, I do have your name. So we can go down the list. Is Mr. Randolph Strahan here? How about Robert Lilly Jr.?
Yes, I'm here.
Great,
Can you hear
thank
me?
Yes, I can. Will you please state your name and address?
My name is Robert Lilly Jr. My address is 7958 South Oglesby. I'm the 7900 South Oglesby Block Club president.
Great, thank you. And do you swear or affirm to tell the truth in today's proceedings?
Yes.
Okay, great. What brings you here, Mr. Lilly?
Well, we've been working with the Alderman and in conjunction with other community groups in trying to revitalize 79th Street. And our concern is, another barbershop. I believe there's already one directly across the street. I know there's a hair braid place right down what it was one of those storefronts. So we can't understand why another barbershop needs to go within 200 feet of another barbershop, a hair braid place. We're trying to change the character of 79th Street. We're trying to get a better mix of businesses up on 79th Street, bring it back up to what it used to be years ago. So that's just our main objection. The concentration of personal care service businesses in one particular location.
Okay, great. And do you have any we always give the opportunity for you as an objector to ask a question of the applicant if you want.
The question I would ask is the location you're going into, and was it an existing, or is it one of the empty storefronts separate from there's a barber shop, at least there's a sign that says there's a barber shop there, which is a few doors down from the hair braid place. So,
Okay, let me
the question is, which one are you going into?
Yeah, let me explain. Okay, so the side of the street that I want has the braiding shop, which is 2 doors down. That's a braiding shop, African braiding shop.
Right.
Okay, that's right there where you see in the photo, which is right there at the corner. Okay, that's African braiding shop. Across the street, that's a salon. That is a salon which does women's hair. I am a full-fledged barber shop. There will not be any women's hair being done in my place, only haircut.
Okay.
Well, I'm not sure about the facility across the street. I thought they did both. Hair and there was a barber there.
That is correct.
And so you said that the hair braid place is 2 doors down from the facility you're going in, that you want to go into. There's already an existing barber on that side of the street, or are you intended to go into that spot, that place?
That unit is available, which is 2 doors down from the African braiding shop, and that's the place that I am looking to take over.
Okay, so is there not a barbershop next door to that place?
No, it's not.
So that barbershop is closed?
That barbershop is completely closed. Yep, that
Okay.
barbershop closed years ago.
Okay. That was my objection, that
Okay.
we already had a number of personal care services right
Yeah.
in that particular location.
Okay, thank you. And then, yeah, Mr. Lilly, if it makes sense to you, I'll get the other objectors on, unless there's someone who just wants to speak first. We always allow that in case it's a coordinated effort. I also want to get Randy promoted. He has his hand raised as an attendee.
Yes.
Hello. Oh
Hey,
my goodness.
Who's this? Who's speaking?
My name is Jer Slaughter. I've been given the go-ahead to unmute my phone. So if you would permit me, I'll speak next.
Yes.
I am.
Can I just get your name and address, please?
You may. It's Jer Slaughter, 7321 South Shore Drive.
Great. And do you swear or affirm to tell the
Chicago.
truth?
Oh, absolutely, I do.
Perfect. Thank you so much. What brings you here, Ms. Slaughter?
Well, as a matter of fact, sir, I am a founding member of the South Shore 7th Ward Community Council. As Mr. Lilly so aptly put it, we have been meeting for months trying to determine the kinds of businesses we'd like to see in our community, because we are given the opportunity with Mayor Lightfoot's initiative Invest Southwest to revitalize our 79th Street business corridor, and that process is underway. My objection to the barbershop was the fact that, and this is not solely just our group, multiple groups have made the determination that we had too many hair care products, services that were similar, and that we didn't need any more of them. We are going to be given the opportunity to, as I said, revitalize, trying to bring new businesses to our community to help improve our local economy, to end up giving us some business and services that are not currently available in our community. So we're trying to find a different approach. I'm really very pleased that the gentleman sees some possibilities, but right now it is not that, and we are trying to diversify. We're trying to bring the services that we travel outside of our community to get. Now, the ordinance that it was to prohibit businesses providing similar services for operating in 1,000 feet of each other is the one that we are concerned about. On the 2200 block of 79th Street, there are 3 currently just a few feet from one another. And zoning ordinance section 17-9-0112, which was legislated, adopted, and registered in the city of Chicago. And I might add, it had unanimous city council support, is what we'd like to see. We would like the request that the original intent of the ordinance stands. We certainly do try to encourage people to do their due diligence before they come into our ward, which would certainly include speaking to the alderman's office or speaking to the community members. I have no idea, and if the gentleman used to be a resident of South Shore, he knows what it can be once again, but it will require some changes. And certainly we want to cooperate, but we're looking for business that will get community support, because that's what's necessary. And we are willing to talk about it, or as we're doing now, hearing him out, but still largely the community does not want additional service, those types of businesses. We have quite a lot of them. Our ward goes as far as Paxton, and we need to get some kind of different businesses. I'll just say that the Chicago Planning Commission did meet with members of the 75th and 79th Street business corridors, and we actively participated, sharing the visions of steps needed to revitalize the business corridor. And the conclusion was that we are ready to support a new variety of businesses that would provide products and services that are not currently available in our community. And I think that's it, the new variety and of businesses that are not currently available in our community. It would remove the need to travel outside our commercial corridor for these items. It would allow us to generate and keep money in our local economy. And
Thank you,
on that
Ms.
note,
Snyder. And I don't mean to cut you off. I think we heard the same objection twice in a row, and I know you've waited a long time, so I'm of course going to let you make it. But our policy here is to only take the same substantive objection once. So I
Sir,
think. So we've
okay,
heard
but
we've
let-
heard a lot on too many barbershops, and we're hearing your objection. So.
absolutely. But may I just say to you that this is overwhelming what is about to happen for us, and we're really looking forward to it and taking advantage of it. And you'd be hard pressed not to hear all of us saying this same thing. And in order to show that impact, we just felt that it's good for you to hear it multiple times. And actually, we've been setting for a mighty long time to have the opportunity to speak. But on that note, I will turn it over to someone else. Thank you so much for hearing me out.
Thank you. And yeah, I mean, we like a lot of participation. We just, for the reality of our caseloads, we're seeing some like 50, 60 matters today. We can only hear an objection once. So with that, I know there's a few other objectors here. I want to give them a chance to raise something new.
Something new.
Yep.
Good evening.
Yeah, sorry, who's speaking?
This is Randolph Strahan Sr., 2720 East 76th Street, Chicago, Illinois, 60649-4314. Been a resident of Chicago, South Shore for 46 years.
Great, thank you, Mr. Strahan. And do you swear or affirm to tell the truth in today's proceedings?
Indeed, I do.
Okay, go right ahead.
I just want to say amen to the rest of my friends of the community, and not to be redundant, but to ask Mr. Anthony, what benefit is he going to bring to our community that will edify our community rather than destroy it?
Yes, sir. And I'll be more than happy to answer you. The first thing,
We'll not respond at this point.
okay. Thank you,
Okay,
Mr. Carter.
Yep,
Well,
Mr.
well, I guess you don't want to.
Okay, so if you're not speaking, first off, please mute if you're not speaking. There's a lot of people on this call, so only a few people can talk at once. John, I'm assuming you're going to let him respond to that when we get back to you all.
Correct.
Yes, I
so
agree with
he's gonna
everyone.
respond, just not right
I agree with everyone, and I would appreciate, and I do appreciate, all you fine people that sit in judgment over these things and look forward to a positive response. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Strand. Okay, any other objector on with a new objection?
Yes, good evening.
Yeah, who's speaking?
Good evening. My name is Jarrett Torrey. I am the Block Club founder of 7945 South Luella, the Block Club president.
Great. And Mr. Torrey, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth in today's proceedings?
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you.
So I guess your opening question is always, why are we on the call? It's simple for me, for the love of the community. I've lived in the community for 38 years plus, and I love South Shore. I was born and raised here, and my mom is also here and lives on the block. So we actually have two homes that are on the block of 79th and Luella. One of the things I want to talk about, I'm not sure if Mr. Anthony understood that right across the street as well, there's a drug rehab facility that is at 2227 East 79th Street. And he mentioned about the hours of operation of his business. And I didn't know if he did any surveillance or anything, but we have a definite problem with traffic, loitering, littering at that corner due to the fact of the traffic that the drug rehab place brings, the traffic that the barbershops bring, the traffic that the hair braiding brings. So with that being said, one of the things that we're looking at, I'm a member of the community is bringing in businesses that will benefit our community. But the thing about it is that if you also to the board, I've had to call 911 over 25 times in the last 3 months due to the fact of the traffic, due to the fact of the loitering, the selling of loose cigarettes, the littering, and that's something that we do not want in our neighborhood or on the block. Also, as well, I want to propose to Mr. Anthony, when you do come into a community, don't you try to introduce yourself, what you're about. There are definite people, hardworking people in the community, and we need to know who is coming in our neighborhood, what do you hear, and how can you help us within the community. None of that has been said. It just seems like it's been kind of force-fed to us, and that's not what we're about. We're a strong community, and we stand up for each other, and that's what I would like to say.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Torrey. Thanks for the objection. Is there any other objector on the call with something new? I actually think we've maybe gone through everyone except for the alderman.
Okay.
Yeah, so Alderman Mitchell, are you still on?
Yeah, I'm still on, Chairman.
Okay, great. The floor is yours, Alderman.
Okay, so in a nutshell, as our community has charged me with, among other things, bringing business to the wards that provide goods and services that the community needs and wants. They also charged me with shutting down that has a deleterious effect on the community. And third, to not allow businesses that are redundant and that do not add value to the community. And another barbershop, another personal service in that area falls into that category. You have the hair braiding spot that has a valid license that established the 1,000 feet. There's another one across the street, and then there's this one. Neither one of those, they're both functioning and they do not have licenses. So that's a problem in itself. In 2018 and 2019, I received a grant of $150,000, and we used that grant to do the first ever survey for the 75th and 79th Street corridor on South Shore. And that study is dubbed, and it was approved by the Planning Commission in 2020, and it's dubbed the South Shore Corridor Study. As a result of the study, the hundreds of community members, including the members of the newly formed South Shore Council, 7th Ward Council, did not want any more hair salons, explicitly stated that. They didn't want any more barbershops, any more storefront churches, any more nail salons, any more daycares. We were looking at businesses that we do not have and that we're trying to attract. Now, and I won't say the same thing that everybody else said. You guys get the point. So I'll close with this. The ordinance was put in for a reason. And that is because in neighborhoods like ours, like mine, we have businesses, we have the easy businesses. We have the businesses that do not provide services and goods to the community, but it's easy to set up. And those businesses have historically proved to be hindrance to the neighborhood. They allow loitering. They increase the wrong trying to foot traffic, meaning foot traffic from outside the neighborhood. These owners prove to not be community partners. They don't engage with the community. We've, didn't prepare, but 4th District and 3rd District could chime in. This is where a lot of our issues happen from a public safety standpoint. We do not, as we build, and Ms. Slaughter put it out there, with the 79th Street corridor being dubbed the priority corridor for the Invest Southwest program, we have been really working hard to establish structure, to establish boundaries, and to work with in several different departments to put that structure in place so we can revitalize that corridor. I kind of wasn't gonna say this, but it's interesting. I don't know who the gentleman was who has no bearing, no anything with the community, and it was his opinion. But those know nothing about our neighborhood and can put out there. So I hope that is respected as an opinion, because he has no idea anything about our community. So With that said, guys, I'm gonna ask that, you do not relax the ordinance that is in place for a reason and not allow another establishment that falls under the ordinance as a personal service to be established within 1,000 feet. That would be number 3, within a spitting distance of each other. Thank you.
May I ask a question? This is Commissioner Esposito. Are you certain that the neighboring personal care businesses are unlicensed?
Yeah, but I sent, I
So
talked.
this one would be licensed, is that correct?
Yeah, I talked to Business Affairs and Consumer Protection, and they're confirming. But yes, this one right here. I mean, Blaze, they don't have a license. They wouldn't be here, and they're open. So that's one. And across the street, Styles 8811, the hair braiding has already been established. So they would have had to come to Zoning Board of Appeals to get a license, to get a special use, and they're all functioning.
So
they might have, right? Like, do we know for sure that they did not? Because it could have been way back. This is a pretty new board.
No. Well, from my standpoint, they do not have license. As you know, we hear about one, so that's obvious.
Mm-hmm.
And to confirm, I did ask Business Affairs and Consumer Protection to go out and investigate, so I can definitely be sure. I did not hear back from them as of today. I hadn't heard back from them.
Thank you.
And Alderman, this part of this is maybe just me thinking out loud, but the fact that the two of the businesses that the objectors brought up as, too many of these services, the fact that those businesses may not be licensed, isn't there a benefit to this gentleman, going through the process correctly and trying to get a license?
Great. So the community we invite any prospective business owners to meet with the community to discuss. And so when you say doing it the right way, did not do it the right way. The reason I know about this is because it shows it was referred to the Zoning Board of Appeals. It was never, so when you say right way, going through and so when you talk about right way, you apply for the license and was it denied according to the ordinance. So I guess that is the right way. But as far as talking with the community, because what we do is we find out from all our businesses what the hours. We let them know the dynamics of the neighborhood. I overheard the gentleman say he grew up there, but he doesn't live there. He lives in the suburbs. So he does not, so I don't know how long he hasn't been there, but we would talk about the dynamics. You would hear about the issues that we're facing on court. You would hear about the plans. And in a very professional dialogue, it may have been possible that something would have been said or worked out, but that didn't happen. So now we're here. And if you look in that picture, that's not barbershop activity right there. That's a speaker. I don't know what happened there, but this is one of the things that we look out for with our new businesses. The way they come in, you have to get them the right way coming in, because once they're in, they seem to do, and I'm not putting all that on this one. Let me say that I don't know that about him, so I won't put that on him. But we're very careful and discerning about how we establish the relationship of a business in the neighborhood. And one starts with whether or not the community wants to support it, because it would bring value to the community. It has been documented. Go pull up the corridor study. It is documented that this is one of the businesses that the community absolutely has explicitly stated does not add value and they do not want to see anymore. So.
Okay, yeah, thanks for coming, Alderman. Any other questions for the Alderman while he's present? Okay, so
I'm not sure if it's for the alderman or for one of the other objectors, but there was a lot of talk about, plans for the area and kind of general, but are there any plans to establish businesses at this location?
Yes. At that location? Oh, but the part of the structure that is in place now is working with the owners of the property to let them know the type of businesses that the community wants to work with him or her to go after. We haven't had this opportunity with this owner. So that what we have in place would have kind of precluded us from getting to this point. And if we did get, if it had been followed, but that's the structure that we put in place. And as far as other efforts, the efforts, the direction has been documented in the first ever corridor study, and it has been, and it's also coming together on a larger scale by working with the Department of Planning, Department of Buildings, BACP, and CPD as we continue to grow the structures in place and grow the structure for the development of 79th Street. Because 79th Street has a lot of challenges, a lot. And that's why we're come together and we're paying so much attention. And that's one of the reasons why we pushed for the administration to make this a priority corridor, to put this special attention and focus on it so we could actually control and direct the activities so we can put things in place that actually will grow the community, that actually will be catalytic. And things like a barbershop, like I said, storefront, all these things that are easy, the corner potato chip stores, the things that we have an abundance of that are easy to put in place are not adding any value to the communities at all.
Okay, so let's go back to Council Pekarsky to do any rebuttal and also close this out here, because I think we do understand the facts pretty well. So,
okay, I would like to address the photograph that is on the board as we speak. There are 5 stores at grade level on this site. 4 of them are vacant and 1 has an illegal use. Now, when someone comes in to a community and wants to cooperate with the authorities in obtaining a license, in starting a business, in investing in a community, I think that's something to be said, especially in the light of the fact that they will be the only legal use on that in that building. Now, we are also governed by laws and rules and not by mobs. The proof has been unequivocally and irretrievably met. The character of the community will be enhanced by a licensed barbershop.
Attorney, you know what, man,
wait a minute, I'm speaking.
Your characters are.
I'm speaking.
Sorry, hey, who's speaking?
That was me. That was me.
Who's me? Who's speaking?
Oh, Alderman Mitchell. That was me.
Okay, Alderman Mitchell, we gotta
apologize.
keep some
right.
We run this quasi judicial. It's not like open council hearings. So the applicant has the floor, and
no, I apologize.
The board will review independently.
So my client has come into the community in the appropriate business fashion. He has obtained his city and state licenses to be a barber and is seeking to have a business license. There is no use on the in the 22, 24 or 22 whatever address building that we are looking at. by definition, the alderman has indicated that the braiding parlor is illegal. The other four are empty. So when someone comes in and tries to do something correctly, that says something. Number two, there's no one from the local community, the people that we have notified and noticed within 250 feet of this site that has come in. The people who are here are aldermanic associates, not employed, but they are joined in various pressure groups. Finally, I would call in rebuttal Mr. Joseph Ryan as to the points of the zoning ordinance. Is, in your opinion, Mr. Ryan, is the use that we're proposing compatible with the character of the building of the property in question and the area in question in terms of site planning, building scale, project design, etc.?
Yes, it is. And I would just like to say very quickly to the alderman, I am very familiar with his community. I just did 3 buildings at 79th and Exchange that were trying to be redeveloped, and I did quite an extensive study of East 79th Street.
Is the proposed use and is it compatible with the neighborhood in terms of noise, hours of operation, and traffic?
Yes.
Okay.
And John, I think we've got some of the standard stuff on the record already. So
I do, but I'm simply emphasizing, and I can't think of a more benign use at this location than a professional barber shop.
If I might just interject, John, part of the problem is the storefronts along every commercial corridor in the city, whether it's in Saguenash, Beverly, the West Side, East 79th Street. These storefronts are too small for national retailers. The prior uses used to be a butcher, a greengrocer, all has been replaced by national retailers or grocery stores. You know, these buildings were designed between 1900 and 1950. So the consumer demand now is for off-street parking and park in front of the store that they wish to shop in. So it's an evolution of consumer trends that hurts these commercial corridors in the city wherever they are.
I have no further questions. No
okay,
further presentation.
so how about we stick to our process, and any questions from the board for the applicant? Great. I think we have enough here. So thank you everyone for coming. Thank you for participating. And we'll take this under consideration.
Good evening, everyone.
Thanks.
Mr. Chairman.
Who's
Hello.
speaking?
Are you finished?
Yeah, we're all done, whoever this is.
Well, you know, one thing.
Who's speaking? Because we finished. So you got to identify yourself, and we.
Testimony is closed.
Yeah.
For the lawyer to sit there, for him to sit there and dictate to us what's going on in our community, is an affront to our character.
Yeah, and I'm not positive who's speaking, but I think I should make it clear as we close this out that.
Randolph Strahan Sr.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Strahan. We're a review board, so we're not like here for a trial or for there to be a negotiation. We just try to get the facts out.
Yeah, I
So
understand
you
that. I
can
understand,
trust
but
that
I
we'll.
resent the fact that you allow him to sit there and degrade.
Yep. Okay, thank you, everyone. We're going to move on to the next matter, which is 107-21-S, 108-21-Z, 109-21-S, and 110-21-Z. So I'm going to go ahead and read the department's recommendation. Okay, for 107-21-S, the Department of Planning and Development recommends approval to establish residential use below the second floor for a proposed 3-story, 6-dwelling unit building with a detached 6-car garage, provided that the development is consistent with the design and layout of the plans and drawings dated April 15, 2021, prepared by 360 Design Studios. And we've also got 109-21-S. The Department of Planning and Development recommends approval to establish residential use below the second floor for a proposed 3-story, 6-dwelling unit building with a detached 6-car garage, provided the development is consistent with the design and layout of the plans and drawings dated April 15th, 2021, prepared by 360 Design Studio. Councilor Barnes, if you're here, let me know.
I am, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Mr. Chairman, members, esteemed members of the board. For the record, my name is Sarah Barnes, and I'm an attorney with the law offices of Sam Banks, located at 221 North LaSalle Street. I was super organized to be completely streamlined, Mr. Chairman, but that last case kind of got me disoriented, but I will get you guys through this as very quickly as possible. If it pleases you, Mr. Chairman, for the sake of time, I want to make sure all my witnesses are on, and then maybe we can swear in everyone right from the beginning.
Yeah, let's go that way. And Sarah, I do believe we do have an objector on this case.
Okay.
And I think I've said the process several times, so I think everyone knows the process. We start with the applicant's case, we move to the objectors, and then we come back for a closing. But yeah. I think you are correct that if we get your witnesses sworn in, we do have affidavits, but walk us through what you think are substantively important things to break up or to bring up verbally.
Right, and that's what I was going to suggest. And I would even be, is there more than one objector? Because I know that the alderwoman has signed up to testify as well.
Yeah, I think it's, we do have someone from the alderwoman's office, and then we have someone named Robert Close.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I might give a brief summary, and then again, for the sake and in the interest of all of you, Mr. Chairman, I'll let you direct me on how to proceed from there. I would be happy to hear from the objectors and the alderwoman's office first, and then to avoid any repetition or redundancy in testimony. But I think I can get a general summary on the record first before we.
Yeah, I think that's a good route. If you do a general summary, we don't get too into the weeds questioning your witnesses yet, because
yeah,
summary will move to the objector.
I love it. Okay, perfect. Then if I can just check with tech support that we have everybody, because there's a few witnesses, and again, they're just available. Some of them will just be available in case we need them on rebuttal or anything. So with that, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, I'm happy to be here this evening on behalf of the applicant, 3308 West Montrose LLC. So here with us remotely, we should have the managing member of that LLC, Gerard Coyle. He goes by Alan Coyle, I think, as well. And we also have our project architect, Christopher Baum. His partner, who is the draftsman for this, Robert Link, might also have signed in, or he may be with Mr. Baum. And then as well, we have our trustee, MAI certified appraiser, Joseph Ryan. And then last but certainly not least, again, if need be, we do have two members of the applicant's real estate team. We have their licensed real estate broker, Tim Sheehan, and their licensed real estate agent, Bridget Carey. They're all here. So if we can affirm that everybody's kind of signed in, we could probably swear them in as a group.
Let's go down the list. Yeah, so if we start with Alan Coyle.
Yeah, I'm here, Tim. Thanks for having us, guys. Sorry, so late in the evening.
No, thanks. Alan, will you give us your name and address, please?
Gerard Alan Coyle, address at 1456 West Fullerton, Chicago.
Thanks. And do you swear or affirm to tell the truth in today's proceedings?
I do.
Perfect. Okay, we're gonna go to Patrick Conway.
I don't think he's with us any longer here tonight. So Alan will be the only witness on behalf of the actual applicant.
Okay, what about Christopher Bohm? What's his role?
The project architect.
Okay, I see. Christopher, will you please state your name and address? Oh, you're on mute.
All right. Christopher Bohm, 2453 South Archer Avenue, Chicago, licensed architect in Illinois.
Great. And do you swear or affirm to tell the truth in today's proceedings?
Yes, I do.
Great. All right. We've got Joe Ryan sworn in 10 times over. Robert Link.
Might be with.
Robert had to leave for his birthday party.
Oh, God.
It's his 50th birthday, so in his defense,
yeah.
I give him leeway. So then it should just be, Mr. Chairman, Tim Sheehan and Bridget Carey.
Great. Tim, are you present?
I am.
Okay, will you please state your name and address?
Tim Sheehan, 2044 West Roscoe, Chicago, Illinois.
And do you swear or affirm to tell the truth in today's proceedings?
Yes.
Thank you. Finally, Bridget Carey. Bridget, if you're present, will you state your name and address?
She made it on.
Sorry, Bridget Carey, 3252 North Damon, Chicago.
Great, thanks, Bridget. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth in today's proceedings?
I do.
Wonderful. Okay, everyone's on.
Thank you. Thank you so much. As one more quick matter of housekeeping, Mr. Chairman, I believe you already referenced it in the recommendation from the Department of Planning and Development. I just want to be sure that the variations as well. Subsequent to filing of the application and the findings of fact, but prior to today's hearing, the design team, Mr. Baum, did have to make a couple minor modifications to the exterior design of the building, and that was with particular regard just to the materials, and that was as a result of the ongoing review by the Department of Planning and Development. Those changes, again, are related only to materials, so they will be referenced on the elevations. They do not in any way change any of the relief that's being sought here today or otherwise alter the footprint or envelope of the building. But for the sake of the resolution and your votes here today, I would like to reference the architectural plans that are dated April 15th, 2021. So 04/15/2021, and those should have been submitted for the record on Tuesday. So with that, this general concept may seem familiar to you members of the board, as well as the team that you see here before you today. We came before this honorable board a couple months ago for a similar project on Chicago Avenue, the 2600 block of Chicago Avenue. I will certainly never ever claim to be perfect or even strive towards it, but I do strive to make progress. Similarly, I'll make mistakes, but we learn from them. So I think we did that as a result of the incredible feedback and questions that we got from the board for that project. So you can rest assured that the applicant has spent the last several months, or the last few months especially, Going over this proposal backwards, forwards, sideways, up and down, I think, Commissioner Saul, hopefully you'll be super proud of us because I think that we exhausted every possible design alternative that we could think of, and did kind of the analysis both from condition and hardship standpoint and then the economic vitality or viability standpoint. So believe me, we tried to not have to be in front of you today. But unfortunately, no matter how hard we tried, it's just really impossible to. And all of the relief being sought is with regard to the variations is still with that detached garage structure. The principal buildings, each of which are 6-unit condominium buildings, to be constructed on 2 double-wide lots that measure 50 feet in width and 125 feet in depth. Each of those 2 buildings either meet or far exceed the requirements, the bulk standards and requirements of the zoning ordinance. So that's with regard to the height, the FAR, the density, even the setbacks. To wit, the rear wall of the principal building is set back over 43 feet from the rear property line, which is actually almost 14 feet more than is required under the code. As well, we could construct a 4-story building that spans the entirety, a commercial building that spans the entirety of the lot. So that would be a full story taller, as well as just much larger, over 1,500 square feet larger in floor area. So in an effort and in consideration of the other improvements along Montrose Avenue, we've shrunk the principal building, both in height and again, just kind of in stature, in scale. So the problem is, however, in order to provide one-to-one on-site enclosed parking for each of the units in those buildings, the garage necessarily has to occupy more than 60% of the total lot area, which therefore makes it an encroachment in the rear setback. Otherwise, detached garages are generally not encroachments. And again, if you remember from the Chicago Avenue, and then it was set forth in our findings of fact, because of the width of the lot, we are unable to do a single detached garage, unified detached garage with 6 side-by-side parking spaces, because due to the unwaivable requirements of the building code, from which no relief is allowed even to be petitioned, such a garage, again, with 6 side-by-side parking spaces, necessarily occupies about 52 feet in width, which is obviously 2 feet more than we have to give on width. So we would be encroaching on the adjacent properties. As a result, Mr. Baum and his design team had to very creatively come up with a structure that would allow for the 6 cars. So he's done so in an L shape. Yep, right there. You can see 2 L-shaped garage structures with kind of an upside down L as the driveway. That is the only, and believe me, again, we have looked at every possible option. We even looked at doing a carport, and all of those options necessarily encroach in the rear setback. So that is what brings us here today with regard to the variations. With regard to the actual use of the property, we are seeking a special use, and that is to allow for each of these buildings to be wholly residential in nature. So to eliminate the requirement for a commercial use below the 2nd floor. And the real impetus behind that is because we have been doing an ongoing evaluation of the subject neighborhood, in particular Montrose Avenue, Just last week, in fact, we had Mr. Ryan go back out to affirm all of the observations that he made in his initial report, which was a couple of months ago. There are over 25 vacant storefronts on Montrose Avenue alone in this immediate area. And when I say immediate, on the subject block and the two adjacent blocks going each direction. We have provided photographs of those with the proper addresses to the board prior to the hearing. So you should have those in your packets. So that was the real impetus behind the special use. Again, we looked, the applicant and his team looked at the possibility of doing a mixed use building, and the market does not support it. There's too substantial of a financial risk that they couldn't even get lending on it. So with that, those are the forms of relief that bring us before this very honorable board today. I'm happy to advance my witnesses real quickly, and I can even, for the sake of time, again, Mr. Chairman, rest on my findings of facts and affidavits for the time being, and then ask them more substantive questions if such is required, either to address the board's questions and or the alderwoman's office or the objector.
Yeah, I think we should do that, Sarah, because I really want to get to the meat of, you know, what the community issue is here.
Yeah, of course. And we're very thankful to the 33rd Ward office and Alderman Rodriguez Sanchez for their incredible efforts in helping to facilitate the community dialogue for this, which was quite robust. So I don't want to allow that to go unnoticed. We're very grateful, and we will continue to work with the Alderwoman's office moving forward as well. So with that, I will quickly go through my main witnesses who are a part of the findings of fact. So with that, Mr. Coyle.
Yes, I'm here, Sarah. Thank you.
Hi, thank you. Just real quickly, may you please just restate your name for the record?
Gerard Allen Coyle.
Thank you. And you're the managing member of the applicant LLC, is that correct?
Correct.
And Mr. Coyle, for now, I'm just strictly going to ask you to just reaffirm the statements that were made in your affidavit that were submitted with the findings of fact, as well as the statements made in the finding of fact. Prior to this hearing, you were given both of those documents. If you were to continue to testify here today, would the testimony that you provide be consistent with the statements that were made in the findings of fact and your corresponding witness statements?
It would, Sarah, yes.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go over to Mr. Baum. Mr. Baum, can you unmute yourself and state your name once more for the record?
Yeah, Christopher Baum, I'm the architect for the project.
Okay, thank you. And again, for now, I'm just gonna simply ask you, Mr. Baum, and again, you were retained by the applicant to design the programming for each of the proposed new 3-story, 6-unit condominium buildings with the detached garage structure. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you had quite a few hardships over which to overcome in designing those elements. Is that correct?
That's correct.
But even still, with your design, is it true that you believe that you meet all of the standards and requirements for a variation as set forth under the current zoning ordinance?
Yes, we believe so.
Perfect. Okay. And with that, Mr. Baum, as well, you were given a copy of the findings of fact, as well as a witness statement and affidavit prior to the hearing. If you were to continue to testify, would your testimony be consistent with the statements that were made in those documents?
Yes, they would.
Thank you. And then for now, we'll just go ahead and get Mr. Ryan on the record real quick. Mr. Ryan, if you can just go back on and state your name again. You're muted.
Joseph M. Ryan, President LaSalle Appraisal Group with offices at 9455 South Warren Avenue in Chicago.
Thank you. And Mr. Ryan, you were retained by, oh, and again, Mr. Chairman, I just asked that Mr. Ryan be recognized as an expert in his field.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Ryan's expert. He's recognized
you.
today. Good.
Thank you. Mr. Ryan, you were retained by the applicant in order to do an evaluation of the subject properties as well as the surrounding area and make a determination as to whether or not the proposed special use to establish residential uses below the second floor meet all of the standards and requirements for a special use under the current zoning ordinance. Did you have an opportunity to provide those services and do that examination?
I did.
Okay, and you set forth your findings and opinions in a written report. Is that also true?
That's correct, yes.
And a copy of that report was tendered to the board prior to this hearing. Is that also correct?
That is correct.
Thank you. And if you were to continue to testify here today, would your testimony be consistent with the statements and observations and opinions that you made in that report?
It would, yes.
Okay, perfect. With that then, Mr. Chairman, I'm happy to hear from the Alderwoman's office and the objector. And then if there's questions that we need the other witnesses for, we can bring them back accordingly.
Yep, thank you very much. So let's go over to the objectors. And as a reminder, you can state your objection. There's not so many on this case, but I always say don't repeat someone else's objection. And then you have the opportunity to ask any question of the applicant. So maybe if the Alderwoman's office starts, that might be a good place. So I believe that's Miss Miller Marquez on this call.
Hello, yes. My name is Liana Miller Marquez. I'm the zoning manager for the 33rd Ward under Alderwoman Rodriguez Sanchez. Our office is located at 3001 West Irving Park Road, Chicago.
Thank you. And Ms. Miller Marquez, really quick, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth in today's proceedings?
I do.
Great. Thank you very much. What brings you here?
Just real quick, I believe I am the only one delivering an objection. Is that correct?
I think there's a Mr. Quellos on the line. I believe so. Yes, there is.
Okay. Thank you so much. First of all, I would like to thank you, Chairman, and the board for your close consideration of this matter. We do have several concerns that we would like the board to take into consideration. I will be delivering a statement on behalf of Alderwoman Rosana Rodriguez Sanchez. The proposal as submitted does not meet the ordinance requirements for a variation. The applicant has not demonstrated why a variation is necessary to develop this site. The only hardship the applicant has articulated is a desire for a covered garage space, which, given the character of the area and the surrounding commercial uses, does not amount to a hardship that would otherwise prevent the applicants from beneficial and profitable use of their property. This is inefficient land use, especially in a commercial area that could benefit from added density. As you can see, the garages alone take up 60% of the lot areas. The reduced setbacks that the applicant is requesting is likely to cause traffic backup down the alley, could interfere with garbage pickup, especially in the winter, and interfere with pedestrian use of the alley and nearby sidewalk if cars are forced to queue in front of the garages. It also puts the garages much closer to the surrounding residential properties, which will create noise and light impacts on those properties. The garage's rooftops would also potentially create noise impacts. The applicant has not submitted a mitigation plan for these impacts. A variation is an extraordinary remedy, and the applicant should be prepared to address not only the hardship question, but also their specific plans for mitigation. The applicant is seeking a special use that would eliminate valuable commercial space in a commercial corridor. It is at the city's discretion whether this is an efficient and generally beneficial use of land. Given the limited number of adequately sized commercial spaces in the vicinity and the increasing number of residential units and rooftops coming into that area, It is critical that we use commercial space. The developer has made the decision not to include commercial space on the basis that there is less activity due to the pandemic. We have seen the same argument made by multiple developers. We should be developing each of our commercial properties to their highest and best use. All of the above concerns were raised by neighbors during our community input process. We were able to hold a public community meeting and collect feedback from community members after being granted continuance. Having heard from at least 73 neighbors, 67% of whom have spoken in opposition to this proposal, our office is in agreement that it is not a good fit for the neighborhood. Neighbors have also expressed that the specific design of this proposal seems to purposefully avoid the requirement to include affordability, which is greatly needed in this area considering the number of working class families who live and attend school here, as a side note. We ask the Zoning Board of Appeals to reject this application. The application is substantively insufficient, does not meet the requirements of the code, and represents poor land use practice. We ask you to favor the side of community members, as these neighbors have spoken clearly on their needs and will be the ones to live with the consequences of this proposal if developed. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And Ms. Miller-Marquez, really quick, do you have any questions of the applicant?
I do not.
Okay. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for staying on tonight to voice the Alderwoman's objection. And I know that the applicant will be addressing their view on it, and we'll observe. So I know we have one more objector. Is there a Mr. Quellos on the line?
Yeah, I'm here. This is Robert Qualis.
Great, thank you. Will you state your name and address, please?
Yeah, Robert Qualis. The address is 4907 North Lawndale, Unit 3.
Okay, and do you swear or affirm to tell the truth in today's proceedings?
I do.
Great, go right ahead.
Okay, so just background myself. I'm an architect. I do a lot of work in the area too. I've checked out a lot of commercial spaces for clients in this area as well. With the issue I have with the proposal is the request for a variance to put residential on the ground floor. I think the argument for a hardship here should not be granted because I think it's mischaracterization of the neighborhood as a whole. I think it's worth, in considering this, actually taking a broader look at this area in Albany Park and the surrounding areas. There is a lot of development going on in commercial spaces. And I think what we've seen is when new commercial viable spaces have been provided, those units have been filled. And there's, again, a lot of that going on around the neighborhood. My worry here is that we grant this variance for residential on the ground floor and we start to lose a commercial corridor on Montrose Avenue as the...
Oh,
not
sorry.
sure.
If you're not speaking, please mute. We're hearing a little bit of feedback and buzzing.
So once this is granted, the next developer and the next developer could come in and argue for exactly the same thing. I think the mischaracterization in the neighborhood is basically counting vacant storefronts, but I think a better comparison would be how many vacant storefronts are actually new viable storefronts that people can move into. I think a lot of the issue with existing storefronts in the neighborhood is that there are problems with meeting ADA code there in terms of either entry or being able to provide toilets. We have an opportunity here to actually provide a viable commercial space to actually here. And so I feel like that the community is essentially being asked to change the fabric of the street, essentially to help the developer here get a quicker return on their investment. Again, Albany Park is a very vibrant economic area. I do not think that the hardship here should be granted. I'm going to stop it there. I'm going to stop there.
No. Thanks, Mr. Carlos. And just for clarification, we fully understand the intent of what you're saying. I just want to clarify that the residential before or below the second floor, that's a special use. Special use doesn't require hardship, so they won't be arguing hardship on that. It's slightly different standards, but with that, that's just a clarification. I think we totally grasp what you're saying.
Sure. Okay, great.
Okay, perfect. There's no other objectors. So let's go back to the applicant and Councilor Barnes. I think it would be great, if we started off with a little bit of any communication between your side and the Alderwoman's office. And then if we move to the items that each of the objectors brought up, which I heard a lot about the garage, I heard about the commercial district, et cetera.
Well, again, prior, and I can't tell if, can everybody hear me? Because I can't. Oh, there I am. Okay. So prior to today's hearing, I submitted a package as a supplemental exhibit D to our findings of fact that contained all of my communications with the 33rd Ward office. That included as well, for over a month now, we've been communicating very regularly with the 33rd Ward office. Towards that end, immediately upon their showing of interest in the project, we sent out, and per their request, the Alderwoman's request, we sent out a second public notice to all residents actually within 750 feet of the subject property rather than 250 feet. And that public notice contained a much lengthier explanation of the proposal and the two forms of relief that we were seeking. So you should have a copy of that in your record. And then as well, subsequent thereto, we participated in and helped facilitate a public meeting, a community meeting, virtually, of course, with Alderwoman Rodriguez Sanchez's office. Again, in my package, you should find two public notice letters. So this would be the third, I guess, public notice. We did one in English and one in Spanish because a majority or many of the constituents and residents of the 33rd Ward, in particular this neighborhood, are Spanish or Latino, Latin, excuse me. So we provided that. We did have a community meeting. We participated in a community meeting and again, those notices were mailed to all residents within 750 feet of the subject site as well. It was posted on the 33rd Ward website, and we posted two additional large signs on the property that contained all the information for the public meeting. That community meeting took place on April 8th. It ran just about 2 hours, and we were able to get a lot of feedback from the community as a result of that. And again, that led us to, even as recently, because obviously there wasn't much time between the community meeting and today, it led us back to the drawing board, quite literally, both with regard to design and trying to see if there was a viable way to provide some of the other features that the community has echoed as represented by Leanna, as well as as well as the other representative, and that is affordability and commercial use on the first floor. So I can get through that with some of my witnesses. Again, I can attest, we've looked at every possible option to allow us to do something that wouldn't require any relief at all, but that would still be deliverable and viable. And that was kind of the conflict we ran into, because we couldn't find something that was all of those things. And as many of you can probably appreciate, we're trying to fill a need and a demand in the community, though we're not going to be able to fix all the problems or fill all the needs in the community. So With that, that was kind of the community engagement. If you have any more specific questions about our community engagement, I guess just bouncing off of that, Mr. Chairman, prior to any of this, as part of the many, many months of due diligence before even putting a pencil to draft paper, Mr. Coyle did and his partner did reach out to some of the other residents that are in that very, very immediate block of Montrose and Sacramento and Whipple, to get ideas towards what they need, what they thought they needed and would like to see here. And that's how we came up with the original programming for that, for the buildings you see here today. Towards that end, although they aren't here to testify tonight, there was 10 letters of support that were tendered to the board prior to this hearing, and that again are were made a part of applicant's supplemental exhibit D. And it kind of echoes what you've seen from the applicant with regard to the purpose and the rationale and the reasoning behind the programming that you see here today. So that was our community engagement, kind of summary wise. Did you have any specific questions about that, or would you like me to start addressing some of the questions raised by the objector?
Yeah, no, that was good, good overview. And yeah, so if you could start addressing those questions, and I just ask that you're very straightforward and concise in your questioning, just because, you know, we've already run the clock for a while. Not that we'll stay as late as possible. I just think there's a way to streamline. So
yeah, sure. Mr. Chairman, for the sake of, there was a lot of information and I took the best notes as possible. Could the board maybe reiterate some of the concerns that you heard from the objectors that maybe we should specifically address? Because I know some of them may have been slightly misconstrued and or not as relevant. So I just want to, again, for the sake of time, I just want to make sure we're addressing the most pertinent ones.
yeah, sure. And so, and I'll let any board member jump in, but I sensed from the Alderwoman's letter, there was a lot about the garage in the alleyway that is worth discussing. You know, if we touch on, I think Joe will have a good view on what retail is doing in the area right now. Anything else from the board?
Hi, this is Jolene, the hardship.
Got it. All right. So the hardship here relates to the garage, but it is not the fact that we desire a garage or even demand it is not the hardship. The hardship is how do you construct a 6-car garage on this lot without necessitating relief, which again, I kind of, I already explained the topographical conditions that restrict us from being able to do that. So the only way to construct a garage on this site that would not require a variation or any form of relief from this board would be to do a 4-car garage, so that 2 of the units would not have enclosed parking. As you can see from even a quick glance at the aerial photographs that were provided to the board prior to the hearing as part of the findings of fact, almost every single residential property in a 3-block radius has a detached garage at the rear of the lot or an attached garage or some other accessory structure that directly abuts the alley. And that includes, there are every building but one on this block of Montrose Avenue that expands the entire entire depth of the lot. So goes right up to the alley, to which the building just to the east, that kind of, again, C-shaped building next to the red dot up there, that's a 3-story multi-unit apartment building that spans almost the entirety of the site. So it's 3 walls on every public way, including the alleyway. As well, you can see the buildings on Sacramento, on Whipple, all of which are wholly residential, many of which are multi-unit. They all have detached garages, every single one. I'm gonna put our real estate team on because they did the market analysis. We have compiled over 37 pages of 1,300 residential listings within a 1-mile radius of the subject site. Almost 100% of the buildings comparable units to what we're proposing have garage parking. And then I believe it's 85% of like apartment buildings have the garage parking. So there's this isn't just a desire for garage parking. This is an actual need and actual demand. We have crunched the numbers and what it looks like to not have the parking or to have a variation of it. So Commissioner Saul, as I indicated, we've looked at doing a 4-car garage and 2 surface parking spaces. If the applicant is able to even sell the 2 units that wouldn't have garage parking, which again, I'll put the real estate agents on, is a very difficult feat. They would take at least a $25,000 to $30,000 loss per unit. So that would result in about $50,000 to $60,000 on just based on parking alone on each building, which puts them not just at a lower return on their investment, but actually taking a significant loss. They would take over a $60,000 loss on that type of alternative. So that's kind of the impetus behind the garage. And again, the hardship with regard to the garage is just not being able to design a garage that meets all of the strict limitations of the zoning ordinance, which is based on, you know, certain kind of one size fit all properties, when not one size doesn't always fit all. And there's just, we don't have the width and we don't have the lot area to make a 6-car garage either fit across the width of the lot or that wouldn't comprise more than 60% of the total lot area. So City Council has made these exceptions available to applicants under these types of situations and has vested this incredible board with the authority to grant variations under such circumstances. So that kind of goes towards the garage. I'm happy to put the real estate agents on and or Mr. Coyle again. Some of the market analysis that we did, Alderman, was performed after the community meeting in light of some of the comments that we were receiving. And therefore we did not have the opportunity to supplement the file by Monday's deadline. So I can, since they're sworn in, I can have them attest to those observations and to that research, but I wasn't able to provide documentation.
Chairman.
Yeah.
This is Liana.
Hey.
May I ask a question?
For Counselor, is that okay with you? I know we went past this.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's up to the board and the chairman because I know it's getting late.
Yeah. If it's based on that, Ms. Miller Marquez, go right ahead. We're taking this one a little bit circular anyway, so we'll get there.
My question, well, so first of all, you know, every plot of land is unique to itself. So, but my question on that is, why the attachment to the garage?
we're not attaching the garage. That's honestly, that was a consideration that we also contemplated as an alternative would be to do an attach.
I didn't mean the garage being physically attached to the building. I
sorry.
meant your attached sentiment to the garage, or rather, why are you pushing so hard for a garage, for garages at the two buildings?
Sure. If I may, Mr. Chairman, can I put on Mr. Sheehan?
Yeah, let's do that because we can continue along with, I think you were going to put on Mr. Sheehan anyway, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
I
hi.
figure he's been waiting here for 12 hours. Why not let him speak?
Thank you. So, go ahead, Sarah.
Sure, Mr. Sheehan. Just real quickly, can you just state your full name for the record?
Timothy Sheehan.
And Mr. Sheehan,
sorry, I'm slow to the punch. Sorry about that, Tim. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth in today's proceedings?
Yes, I do.
Great, thank you very much.
Mr. Sheehan, you are a licensed real estate broker in the state of Illinois, is that correct?
Yes.
And you've actually been doing residential brokerage here for residential developers and clients for over 18 years. Is that also correct?
Yes.
And you work in every neighborhood in the city. Is that true?
For the most part, yes.
So you don't have a neighborhood that you specialize in?
We've probably done residential real estate deals in almost every neighborhood in the city. We do a lot more in the north and northwest sides, though.
The subject, so Albany Park, East Albany Park.
Yes.
Towards that end, it's my understanding that you've had actually, and you currently have several active listings, and you've recently closed on some residential improvements in this East Albany Park neighborhood. Is that right?
Yes.
As well, and kind of along those same lines, the applicant recently built 4 similar buildings on Lawrence Avenue, just north of this site, but still located in the East Albany Park neighborhood. Is that true?
Yes.
And you were the real estate team that did the marketing and sales for that property. Is that also correct?
Yes, we were.
And you were able to quite quickly sell out each of those 24 units in those condominium buildings. And again, that's in East Albany Park. Is that right?
That's right. Yes.
And each of those units had deeded parking. Is that correct?
They did.
When you were doing the marketing for that building and started to start doing showings and the such, what was your experience with garage parking? Because it's actually strike that. I'm sorry, Mr. Sheehan. Is it true that you do have another listing in this neighborhood, a condominium unit of like kind, but that didn't have garage parking?
Yes.
And it's my understanding that you had a little more difficulties selling that unit. Is that true?
That's right. Yes.
But that's a new construction condominium unit?
We have had a couple of instances where we've had new construction units with garages versus new construction units without garages. I'd say on average, the market time, if this is what you're asking, the market time is substantially longer without a garage, which is, obviously not good in real estate. Time is a little bit of your enemy or the builder's enemy, but also you cut down your buyer pool when you don't have a garage. A lot of people who either fear there's a safety component to having a garage. People spend a lot of money on their cars, whether they buy a $5,000 or $10,000 car or a $50,000 or $60,000 car. In our rough Chicago winters, you have to worry about snow removal, tires, glass, you name it. So garages are a huge component to a buyer shopping for a condominium house, whatever it may be. A garage is really, really high on the list.
And these condominiums, each of these units, the duplexes have 4 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. The simplexes
Right.
have 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. So they're intended for the most part for families looking to starter families, growing families looking to enter the ownership market, as well as you get empty nesters, you get couples who are one or more of the partners are working from home, and you get couples that are just looking to start families. Is that correct?
We get a wide variety of buyers. Obviously, with fair housing laws, I can't tell you exactly who's buying, right? But I would say it runs the gamut from singles to couples, families, you name it. The design that Chris and his team has come up with in Platinum Builds it's in high demand. And the nice part is we attract a lot of different types of buyers. So to answer your question quickly, absolutely. That's another point with garages. When we do happen to have families or someone may have kids, they tend to have a car, right? And they also, from a safety factor, want to have a garage. Getting in and out of a car, getting your groceries, especially if there's a woman in the household, going up the stairs, carrying groceries, maybe carrying a baby seat. That's difficult. And it's much more difficult if you don't have parking or you don't have a garage.
And with that, have you ever had a potential buyer walk away from a contract just because there wasn't garage parking?
Yes, we, on one of our last buildings, which was actually a 6-flat in a different neighborhood, but not too far away. The thought was we were going to be able to build a garage, a 6-car garage. There was an issue with the garbage. So they ended up doing one outdoor parking space, and we had 2 people walk away from buying. It proved to be a very difficult sale. The builder is still dealing with issues with that parking space with that buyer, and it's become a real headache for everyone involved, including the buyer. So yeah, and we've, of course, I think that particular unit sold for $33,000 less than the one across the hall.
That was my next question. When there are instances that you are marketing and selling, again, owner-occupied condominium units of this size, as opposed to a 1-bedroom or a studio,
Right.
Is it true that you generally will have to drastically cut the valuation, the sales price of that unit?
Yes, we considered ourselves lucky to cut it only $33,000 at that particular building.
That's in a neighborhood with a similar median income, same kind of similar demographics.
Pretty similar, yes.
Okay. With that, oh, go ahead.
Sarah, if there's one more thing I can share, just to give the group sort of a quick snapshot of the real estate market in the neighborhood. Could I give you a few quick stats just so everyone knows kind of what the housing options are for buyers in that neighborhood? Because we definitely did at the Lawrence project, which is just a few blocks north of this Montrose site. We definitely had neighborhood buyers wanting to stay in the neighborhood. You know, they might have been moving up from a rental building or a smaller unit and looking to upgrade their size. We actually had someone who was downsizing, a couple going into retirement that bought one of those duplex downs that didn't want to own a house anymore. So I won't bore you with a lot of stats.
I think we actually probably don't need it. I think
You don't need them. Okay.
I think it was helpful to hear about the garage, but honestly, I think we've heard about the
Okay.
garage. So,
No problem.
yep.
We can put Mr. Sheehan or Ms. Carey back on if any of the commissioners have additional questions towards that end, but hopefully that gives an indication. Believe it or not, and I interviewed Miss Carey, who's the agent before this, and she had similar sentiments to Mr. Sheehan. And it's just when she's showing these properties, the women especially do have real safety concerns, you know, whether they're actual or apparent for whatever
Okay,
reason.
sir, I
it
really
did.
don't. I gotta cut you off on the.
Oh, yeah,
gender
no, that's good.
arguments.
I'm sorry.
I've
You're right.
never heard these gender arguments in the history of my career, so we're gonna throw those out. And
Totally,
I
totally.
recommend not making them again. That goes to the realtor and everyone. So.
This is Commissioner
It's just, it does
Esposito.
become a safety thing. Sorry, Commissioner Esposito, go ahead.
No problem. Thank you, Sarah. I have, if we could just circle back to what those objections were.
Yeah.
And maybe hear for a very brief moment from Mr. Ryan on the state of commercial activity and why he feels it's justified to
Sure.
not have retail on the ground level briefly. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sorry, I'm parched. Mr. Ryan, can you unmute yourself and go back on the record, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Ryan, towards Commissioner Esposito's question, there has been some concern on how I'm not going to say introducing a residential building to this commercial corridor because Mr. Ryan, based on your observations of Montrose Avenue and the immediate area, did you find that there were other all residential buildings on Montrose Avenue in the immediate area?
Yes, on the west side, I'm sorry, on the south side of the street at the west end of the block, there are 3 residential single-family homes right on Montrose. I looked at Montrose from Kedzie. I went all the way to the lakefront. In the 4-block area from roughly California to Kedzie, there were 25 vacancies. Surprisingly, there was a vacant strip center on the south side of the street, somewhat east of the property. There was a newer building at the corner of, it wasn't Spalding, but it's either the next corner or the one following that, that there was a newer mixed-use building on the corner that had a vacant storefront, much more modern than a lot of the other vacancies on the block. As I stated in the last hearing, our Montrose is a secondary commercial corridor as opposed to Lawrence or Irving or Belmont. The desirability for commercial space on these streets is dramatically diminished by the fact that they don't have off-street parking and there is no option for off-street parking. The design of the buildings, again, it is from the 1900s when retail habits, when people were walking to the store and there was many more butchers and greengrocers and uses like that. And that is just not the case anymore. And these lots aren't big enough and deep enough to accommodate national credit tenants. So, you know, the enigma is that everybody wants the retail revitalized, but the design concepts and consumer spending habits don't coincide with this.
That and Mr. Ryan, you've been doing this for a long time. You have lots of experience. In your experience evaluating these types of kind of secondary commercial corridors with a lot of mixed uses, is it true that sometimes you have to bring an influx of residents onto those commercial streets in order to support and reactivate some of the struggling businesses? And that's not just in times of pandemics, there was, an assertion that this is being done because of COVID. I think but sometimes you do need to bring the residents and the pedestrians, as you were saying, in order to support kind of the revitalization of some of those businesses, those vacancies. Is that true in your experience?
Yes, and this is, although exasperated by the pandemic, the retail decline is more caused by the online retailing than by the pandemic. Although the pandemic hasn't hurt, and the pandemic certainly hurt the bars and restaurants, but for the most part, the bars and restaurants on this strip have seemed to maintain, and most of the vacancy is caused by just older facilities that have there's no retail demand there.
Ryan, when you were walking through the neighborhood and doing your evaluations, is it true that the residential neighborhoods that are just to the north or on the side streets tend to be more single family homes?
Yes, absolutely.
Or very low density. And I think we even heard from the Alderwoman's office that residential density is required. We actually are providing the highest density that you can provide at this property under the current zoning. So we are trying to help out with that too. But I think that just goes to show you that the intent behind this is to bring residents to Montrose Avenue to start re-supporting all of those vacancies. Just lastly, real quickly, Mr. Ryan, you indicated that there were 25 commercial vacancies, at least 25 on Montrose Avenue. And just to be clear, it was clear to me, but it might have been missed. You did observe vacancies in both newer construction or remodeled or renovated commercial storefronts as well as the older ones. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you. And in your experience, again, appraising these types of properties, is it also true that given the significant increase in construction costs, the rent for a new commercial unit would be significantly higher than perhaps a renovated or even just a couple years older of a vacant commercial unit?
It would be significantly higher.
Thank you. Commissioner Esposito, was that sufficient? And the other commissioners, or did you want to hear anything more from Mr. Ryan?
I'm satisfied. Thank you, Sarah.
Okay.
Mr. Ryan.
Okay, any other questions from the board?
Yes, this is Jolene Saul. I have a very basic question that I should know the answer to. If there were not a connector from the building to the garage, would you still need the variation?
Not a basic question, because I literally had to go to sleep with the zoning ordinance for about a week straight to understand this. So it's the size of the garage when you have 6 cars. There is a provision in the zoning ordinance. I can cite it for you because I'm not Steve Valenziano and I don't know them by heart, but it's section 17-9-0201D. And that provision states that whenever there is an accessory structure that services a residential use that is in excess of 60% of the lot area, then it constitutes an encroachment in the setbacks, both rear and side setbacks. So unfortunately, even if we forgo the roof deck and the connection to the building just to build that garage for 6 cars or any other creative morphosis of that, we would still need the variation.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Chairman, sorry, could I speak for 1 second? Gerard Coyle.
Yep, go right ahead.
It's getting late, Alan, so make sure this is really important.
Tim, I'd just like to thank everyone for their comments, and the alderman and the objectors, obviously. Just one comment. there was 64 comments on the online, which I actually read all 64. 43 against. One person didn't know what they were like. We don't really care. And 20 were in support. Of the 43 against, just so it's known, 5 of them, 38 of them spoke about stuff that was irrelevant to this project, nothing to do with the variance we're looking for. 5 people were opposed to the commercial, and nobody talked about the garage layout or the bridge. It's on the Alderman's website, Tim, and I just want to put it on record. And just one other thing, the guy there was saying that there was no new commercial space in the area. 2951 West Montrose was new construction in the last 5 years. It's laid vacant since day one. I know they're going to come back and say there's a dance studio going in there. You know, I've seen the sign for that dance studio for the last 6 months. It hasn't gone in. And also, just prior to me coming on earlier, another developer in less than 1 mile from here on the 4400 block of Western built 4 commercial spaces 2 years ago. He spoke earlier. His name was Longford Construction, Port Connolly. His four commercial spaces are still vacant, guys. Less than 1 mile from here. I just want to put that on record. And thanks for your time, guys. Sorry.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
thanks,
This is
everyone.
Commissioner Toya. I got a question. So
Yeah, go right ahead, Sam.
the Alderman's office said that, and obviously you just read off the, you were just reading it off too, off the people's response, that they wanted retail there. The neighborhood wanted retail. That's what the Alderman's office said. So could your Alderman's office go a little deeper? Because that, if that's what, I'm getting confused here, because the residents seem to say they want retail. I get the empty storefronts, but I just want to hear, what the people that live in the neighborhood, are saying. Is that fair to say? Because that's what the Alderman's office said.
Sam, on the count I did on the 43 people that opposed the project, the letters are all online. Everyone can read them. 5 people opposed. 5 people wanted commercial in this space. The rest of the people spoke about. Sorry, Sam.
Okay. I got it. I just wanted to make sure I got those facts.
It's
So 5
all the
people
letters
wanted
were
retail,
sent out this week. Thanks.
and then the
Thanks.
38 didn't say anything about the
Yeah,
retail.
and I wish the alderman also put in their comments that, there was 20 people in support, and, their voice should be heard also. And I would ask the alderman's office when we're on here, is this something that the 33rd ward wants? Do they want more vacant space? We didn't even go on to Irving Park in this discussion. I know we're on Montrose, but Irving Park is in this ward also, and we haven't even touched on that, and we won't tonight. And thanks, guys, for your time. Sorry for keeping you so late.
No, it's fine. I just wanted to drill down on more of what the neighborhood, the people that live in the neighborhood were saying about retail. So, thanks.
Yeah, a lot of the people had nothing to do with our variances. They're online. Everyone can read them. Thanks, guys.
Good. Thanks, everyone. So Sam, if that's sufficient for you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, good.
Unless the Alderman's office wants to say anything.
Yeah, so Ms. Miller Marquez, go right ahead.
Thank you. We sent to neighborhood organizations as well as the developer representative and team an update on feedback that we had received. So that is, I believe, what is being spoken to. It does not account for all of the feedback that we received. And yes, to reiterate, neighbors are asking for retail. They would like to see commercial space, and for that corridor for the best use for that corridor to be maintained.
So the Alderman's office, you and your team, basically, when you went and, surveyed the neighborhood, the majority of the people want retail on Montrose in that part of the ward. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, we received much feedback requesting commercial space be in this particular location. Commercial space be maintained.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, sorry.
The feedback there, a lot of the feedback.
Alan, can you just 1 second, please? Commissioner Toya, if I may, I just kind of want to stick to what's in the record. No, I mean, again, we were very engaged with the community. We didn't get all of that feedback, which I've been requesting feedback from the Alderwoman's office so we could address some of this. What is in, and none of that was ever provided to the zoning board prior to the hearing. There was, however, 10 actual written letters of support, wherein each of those letters, and those are from residents that live within 250 feet of the subject property, wherein they, all of them echoed that, you know, commercial vacancies have been a real problem and that they really would like a new all residential building to help support the struggling businesses. So just again, if that was something that the community desired, I just feel that there would have been written letters submitted to the zoning board for consideration and or provided to our team. So
Yeah, and Counselor, you're right. We've got a lot of background feedback on this, which is good, but you know, it's really hard to just take a litmus test and count, you know, supports and when there's a lot more people in the industry. So, you know, that's why we always revert back to substance, but I think it was still good to hear from the Alderman's office on that. So
1000%.
So thanks, Ms. Miller Marquez as well.
Thank you.
May I
Yes.
just make a quick clarification? I just want to reiterate what I stated in the statement from Alderwoman Rodriguez Sanchez, which is we heard from at least 73 neighbors, 67% of whom have spoken in opposition to this proposal. Just
Okay.
for that to be clarified.
Good,
Thank you.
good. Yep, thanks for the feedback. So I'm gonna streamline us to closing this out. Any other questions from the board? Okay, thank you everyone so much, and I genuinely mean it, for staying this late and giving good answers to our questions, and also dealing with us when maybe we're a little bit battered down from the day. So we appreciate
Same
it.
here.
We'll
Thank
take this
you.
we'll take this under consideration. Thanks.
Thanks, Chairman and committee members.
Much
Thank you.
respect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Two left. No objectors. Let's move to 114-21-S at 3947 South Kedzie. And it's you, Nick. I'm going to go ahead and read the department's recommendation. The Department of Planning and Development recommends approval to establish a one-story addition onto an existing one-story retail building located on a lot that contains an existing 3-pump gas station, provided that the special use is issued solely to the applicant, CS1 Real Estate, Inc., and the development is consistent with the design and layout of the plans and drawings dated April 15, 2021, prepared by Guider Group LLC, and landscape plan dated April 12, 2021, prepared by Hitchcock Design Group. Okay, Nick, let's take it away.
All right, perfect. I'm going to keep this short and sweet. I'm here on behalf of the applicant, CS1 Real Estate Incorporated. The applicant owns the subject property again at 3947 South Kedzie. The 20,000 square foot site is improved with an existing and operating gas station and an accessory retail convenience store. The applicant is proposing to basically double the size of the retail store. And because we're exceeding 25% of the existing retail store floor area, we are required to obtain a special use. That's the only change in this program, is expanding, as you can see, the kiosk or smaller retail store and effectively asking to double it. I have 3 witnesses available to testify on behalf of the applicant, Mr. Cyriac Chandy, our project architect, Mr. Carl Guider, and our MAI appraiser, Mr. Peter Pujols. And with that, I would ask to call Mr. Chandy as my first witness.
Great, Mr. Chandy, if you're here, can you please state your name and address? Oh, Mr. Chandy, you might have to unmute. I know I see you. I see you logged in. Just give him a second.
Can you unmute, Cyriac?
Oh, Mr. Chandy, we can see you. We just can't hear you.
Okay, let me unmute. Okay, I was on mute, that's why.
We can hear you. Yep. So, Mr. Chandy, will you please state your name and address? You're muted again.
Mute, okay. 1936 Alexandra Court, Northbrook, Illinois. My name is Riek Chandy.
Great. And do you swear or affirm to tell the truth in today's proceedings?
Yes, I do.
Okay, Syriac, again, you're the president of the applicant, CS1 Real Estate Incorporated?
That's correct.
Yeah. And that entity owns and operates
Yes.
the gas station at 3947 South Kedzie, is that right?
Yeah, yes,
As I explained, you're taking the existing 425 square foot retail store and proposing to expand it by an additional about 405 square feet. Is that right?
that's correct.
Otherwise, the three pump gas station and the 4 parking spaces are going to stay the same. Is that right?
Yes,
And Syriac, it's your understanding that my office filed witness statements on your behalf in this case?
yes,
And if you were to continue to testify, would that testimony be consistent with the statements we provided?
yes,
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, again, it's a special use. I do have our project architect available. If I can, I'd like to go right to Mr. Pujols to speak to the standards for special use.
Yep, let's go to Mr. Poulos. Peter, if you're on, can you state your name and address?
Hi, Peter Poulos, offices at 5500 Pearl Street, Rosemont, Illinois.
Great. And Peter, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth in today's proceedings?
I do.
Great.
Peter, you are a designated MAI appraiser in the state of Illinois.
Yes, that's correct.
You've testified in that capacity many times before this board. Is that right?
Yes.
We acknowledge Mr. Poulos' expertise.
Thank you.
And Peter, the scope of your assignment in this case was to determine whether the requested special use met the criteria for approval. Is that right?
That's correct.
You physically inspected the property?
Yes.
You also prepared a written zoning analysis report summarizing your findings and conclusions. Is that right?
Yes, I did.
And very briefly, it's your general opinion that the proposed special use will meet the criteria for approval, provided the board approves the request.
That's correct.
It's your understanding that my office filed a copy of the report with the zoning board already?
Yes.
If you were to continue to testify, would the testimony be consistent with the findings and conclusions contained in that report?
Yes, it would.
Chairman, that concludes the applicant's case in chief. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them now.
Okay, great. Any questions from the board? Okay, thank you, Mr. Chandy. We'll take this under consideration.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Have a great
everybody.
weekend.
Have a great night. Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks.
All right. Last one, everyone. Moving along to 127-21-S. And I'm going to read the department's recommendation. I believe we have Michael Yip here as counselor. The Department of Planning and Development recommends approval to expand an existing bank with drive-through facility by adding an ATM with drive-through facility, provided the special use is issued solely to the applicant, CIBC Bank USA, and the development is consistent with the design and layout of the site plan dated December 27, 2020, prepared by DBSI Incorporated, and landscape plan dated April 6, 2021, prepared by Christopher B. Burke Engineering.
Chair, this is Jolene Saul. I'm just letting you know I'm recusing myself from this matter.
Great, thanks, Commissioner. Thanks for letting us know. Is there a counselor present? Oh yeah, I see you, Michael.
Good evening, Chairman. How are you?
Good. Thanks for sticking around, Michael. I know this is your first one and it happens to be the last one, so that's a hard straw to pick.
No problem. I appreciate it. So if we can get it right to it, Chairman, I'll keep it brief, like my colleagues. So good evening, Chairman and members of the board. My name is Michael Yip. I'm an attorney with Liston and Santillas. Our partner was here previously, Brian Liston. Our office is located at 33 North LaSalle. And we represent the owner applicant CIBC for the subject property located at 3040 West 111th Street. I have here today with me representative of CIBC, Miss Beth Murphy, and then our expert witness today is Mr. Joe Ryan of LaSalle Appraisal Group.
Perfect. Feel free to swear in your, we'll get the witnesses sworn in.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, would you swear in Beth Murphy, please?
Yep. Okay, so Beth, will you please state your name and address?
Beth Murphy, 120 South LaSalle, Chicago, Illinois.
Thank you. And do you swear or affirm to tell the truth in today's proceedings?
Yes.
So Beth, can you just repeat your name and address for us for the record?
Beth Murphy, 120 South LaSalle,
And can you quickly explain your role with CIBC?
facility manager / project manager for CIBC Bank.
Great, thank you. And the special use applied by our firm on behalf of CIBC is necessary to expand the existing facility to add an ATM with a drive-through, correct?
Correct.
And we submitted with your application a lay witness affidavit containing statements that you said to be true.
Yes.
And can you confirm the affidavit you previously provided us and filed with the application is consistent with the testimony you can provide today?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Mr. Chairman, if I may, can we move to Mr. Joe Ryan, if he's still available?
Yep. Joe, you still here?
I just promoted him, Chairman. Sorry.
Oh, there he is. Good evening, Joe. Thanks for sticking around.
Oh, I had some things to do.
All right. Joe, can you please state your name and address for us?
I always forget.
Oh, wait, sorry. Someone, if you're not speaking, you've got to mute. We're great. Go ahead.
Brian, MAI President, LaSalle Appraisal Group with offices at 9455 South Horn Avenue in Chicago.
And Joe, you are a certified MAI appraiser in the state of Illinois, correct?
Yes.
And can you confirm you were provided a zoning report for the subject property?
I did.
And the scope of work for the special use sought was for the subject property?
Yes.
And you visited the subject property, correct?
Yes.
And can you confirm that we filed your zoning report on the subject property on your behalf with the application for CIBC, correct?
You did, yes.
Yes. And are the conclusions finding in the report consistent with the testimony you will be giving today?
It is, yes.
Yes, it is. Thank you. Chairman, that concludes our case in chief, and we're happy to answer any questions that you may have this evening.
Great, thanks, Michael. Any questions from the board? All right, we'll take this under consideration. Thank you, everyone, for your time. And Michael, again, thanks for coming this late. And
no problem. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Chairman.
Great. Okay, so I move that we convene into closed session pursuant to Section 2C4 of the Open Meetings Act for the purpose of considering the evidence and testimony presented in open session. For those viewing by live stream, we will return from our closed session, and the live stream will continue at that point. Commissioner Toya seconds. Commissioner Saul?
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez?
Yes.
Commissioner Toya?
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito?
Yes.
Great. We are reconvened. See everyone in a bit. right, let's see if we got everyone. Yep, okay, good. I move that we return to open session. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
Okay, great. We're back in open session and we will now vote. Note that any motion to approve a special use will be tied to the recommendations of the department and any additional conditions read by me. Let's get to it and feel free if I'm going to take this slowly because of where my mind is at, but if I mess anything up, just call me out. All right. I move to approve application for calendar number 129-21-S. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matter is approved. I move to approve application for calendar number 130-21-S. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
No.
Commissioner Sanchez,
No.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
No.
I vote no, the matter is denied. I move to approve application for calendar number 132-21-S. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matter is approved. I move to approve application for calendar number 133-21-Z. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
No.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
No.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matter is approved. I move to approve application for calendar number 134-21-Z. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matter is approved. I move to approve application for calendar number 136-21-S. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matter is approved. I move to approve application for calendar number 137-21-S. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matter is approved. I move to approve applications for calendar numbers 139-21-Z and 140-21-Z. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matters are approved. I move to approve application for calendar number 141-21-F. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Absent.
I vote yes, the matter is approved. I move to approve applications for calendar numbers 142-21-S and 143-21-S. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Absent.
I vote yes, the matters are approved. I move to approve application for calendar number 144-21-S. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Absent.
I vote yes, the matter is approved. I move to approve application for calendar number 145-21-Z. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matter is approved. I move to approve applications for calendar numbers 146-21-Z and 147-21-Z. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matters are approved. I move to approve application for calendar number 148-21-Z. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matter is approved. I move to approve application for calendar number 151-21-S. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matter is approved. This next one I'll take separately from the following few, even though they're somewhat related. I move to approve application for calendar number 152-21-Z. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matter is approved. I move to approve applications for calendar numbers 153-21-Z, 154-21-Z, 155-21-Z, and 156-21-Z. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matters are approved. I move to approve applications for calendar numbers 157-21-S and 158-21-Z. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matters are approved. I move to approve applications for calendar numbers 159-21-Z and 160-21-Z. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matters are approved. I move to approve application for calendar number 161-21-S. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matter is approved. I move to approve application for calendar number 162-21-Z. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matter is approved. I move to approve applications for calendar numbers 163-21-Z, 164-21-Z, and 165-21-Z. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matters are approved. Sorry, I missed one in that bunch. Sorry about that. We'll take it. I move to approve application for calendar number 167-21-Z. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matter is approved.
And not to interrupt, but did we get 166?
So that one was withdrawn.
Yeah, that
Thank
was
you.
withdrawn.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's my confusion as well. Okay, I move to approve applications for calendar numbers 168-21-Z, 169-21-Z, 170-21-Z, and 171-21-Z. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matters are approved. I move to approve application for calendar number 172-21-Z. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya. Commissioner Toya.
Yes. Sorry.
No worries. I vote yes, the matter is approved. I move to approve applications for calendar numbers 173-21-Z, 174-21-Z, and 175-21-Z. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matters are approved. I move to approve application for calendar number 176-21-S. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matter is approved. I move to approve application for calendar number 177-21-S. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matter is approved. I'm going to break up the next few between special use and variation. I move to approve the application for calendar number 178-21-S. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matter is approved. I move to approve applications for calendar numbers 179-21-Z and 180-21-Z. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
No.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matters are approved. I move to approve application for calendar number 181-21-Z. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matter is approved. I move to approve application for calendar number 182-21-S. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matter is approved. I move to approve applications for calendar numbers 184-21-Z and 185-21-Z. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matters are approved. I move to approve application for calendar number 186-21-Z. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matter is approved. I move to approve applications for calendar numbers 187-21-Z and 188-21-Z. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Absent.
I vote yes, the matters are approved. I move to approve applications for calendar numbers 343-20-S and 344-20-Z. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matters are approved. Okay, next up we go to, I move to approve application for calendar number 60-21-Z. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matter is approved. Okay, I move to approve application for calendar number 80-21-S. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
No.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
No.
I vote no, the matter is denied. I move to approve application for calendar application. Actually, I'm going to take these separately. Sorry. I move to approve application for calendar number 107-21-S. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matter is approved. I move to approve application for calendar number 108-21-Z. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
No.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matter is approved. I move to approve application for calendar number 109-21-S. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matter is approved. I move to approve application for calendar number 110-21-Z. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
No.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matter is approved. I move to approve application for calendar number 114-21-S. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matter is approved. I move to approve application for calendar number 127-21-S. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Recused.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, the matter is approved. I move to approve the written resolution containing findings of fact consistent with the votes of the board for board calendar numbers 57-21-Z, 58-21-Z, 59-21-Z, 61-21-S, 87-21-S, 89-21-Z, 90-21-Z, and 91-21-Z. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, those resolutions are approved. I move to approve the written resolutions containing findings of fact consistent with the votes for the board's March 19th, 2021 regular meeting, with the exception of board calendar numbers 106-21-Z, 115-21-Z, 121-21-S, 122-21-Z, and 45-21-S. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, those resolutions are approved. Okay, before we adjourn, I just want to thank everyone as usual, but especially today, because this one went long, but we also got through a lot. So I really appreciate the time, and that goes to, of course, board staff, court reporters, and everyone from the public who just got on. So I move that we adjourn the meeting. Commissioner Toya seconds, Commissioner Saul,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Toya.
Yes.
I vote yes, we're adjourned. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye, guys.